Queen of the Murder Scene. It came out in 2018.
Yeah, 2018.
It's kind of a pivotal moment in the Warnings' discography, sitting between their debut full-length Exercise Century Blood from 2017.
Right.
And their more recent stuff like Error in 2022 and Keep Me Fed just this year, 2024. It feels like a very conscious artistic departure.
It really does. It's described, as this bold concept album, framed as a psychological thriller and, a rock opera. The central idea is trapping the inner journey of a disturbed young woman. We basically follow her descent from, initial desire and obsession through a terrible crime and ultimately just into madness.
And what's truly fascinating, based on the material we've looked at, is how the story is told. The songs themselves narrate it, but they shift perspective.
Yeah, that's key.
Coming from either the young woman's inner psychopath or her good side. And that good side, the sources point out, eventually just, it ceases to exist.
Right, it's like an internal war playing out. And the album is structured quite deliberately. It's broken into chapters.
Chapters, okay.
Directly corresponding to a written narrative the band actually created themselves. So it's not just an album, it's more like a multimedia experience designed to tell this one specific dark story.
Which all kicks off with the prologue.
Dust to Dust, yep. This song really sets the mood, introduces the core themes right away. You immediately get hints of, life and death, good versus evil, truth and lies, that sort of thing.
There's a really striking part in this song, that section in Spanish. Our sources mentioned this comes from a preacher, talking about how salvation isn't free. It requires work.
Exactly.
That sets a specific tone, doesn't it? The lyrics themselves feel heavy with these, religious undertones.
Definitely.
Life is short, unpredictable. There's talk of an afterlife, and we shall start again.
Right, that line comes back later, too.
Yeah, and this distrust of false prophets, and that line, I don't seek right or wrong, which feels like a rejection of external judgment, maybe?
I think so. It drops you right into this world where internal morality and external forces are already clashing.
Absolutely. And from there, we dive straight into Chapter 1, The Seeds of Obsession. This is where things really start to unravel, starting with Crimson Queen.
Crimson Queen, yeah. It introduces the protagonist, the girl, and the object of her fixation. She's deeply in love with someone who, doesn't even know she exists.
Oof. Classic setup for trouble.
Totally. The feelings are intense, confusing, almost painful in how strong they are, and just overpowering. At this stage, she still seems, relatively innocent, maybe just dangerously infatuated, willing to do anything for his love.
But that shifts pretty quickly. The next track shows that obsession really starting to consume her. You feel this palpable fear of what she's turning into.
Yeah, that lyric, I don't want to understand, I just want to hold your hand, that captures it perfectly, I think, that struggle. She knows something's wrong, but the desire is just stronger than her will to resist or even figure it out.
She feels trapped, like she's sinking. There's even a plea to be saved in there.
And what's chilling about, especially looking at the band's commentary in the sources, is the foreshadowing.
Right.
Even though she doesn't realize it yet or intend it, the band basically says this is the point where the path towards having blood on her hands becomes, inevitable.
Wow. Which escalates dramatically in the one. Okay, here things move beyond just obsession to something far more dangerous. Control is clearly slipping away entirely.
Oh yeah. She's no longer just willing to do anything for love. She's willing to do anything to make love happen, even if that means getting rid of the competition.
You can hear it right in the lyrics that shift from let me be the one to this forceful, possessive I will be the one.
Exactly. And one source really highlighted Danny's vocal performance here, describing how she just spits out, for you to love me back, with this incredible fury and frustrated rage.
You can really hear that. This song feels like the point of no return.
Absolutely. And that takes us straight into Chapter 2, The Crime and the Aftermath. The act itself, or at least the immediate lead-up, seems captured in Stalker.
Right. In Stalker, the queen has this person trapped. She's confronting him directly, telling him how much she wants him, and stating very clearly he doesn't have a choice. Yes or no, whichever, I'll have you someday.
It's a disturbing mix, isn't it? Part declaration, part threat.
Totally. And here's where one of the most crucial details from the band themselves comes in, from a live chat, right?
Yeah. Power specifically mentioned that the first murder, her words, takes place at the very end of Stalker, in the final verse.
Wow. Okay. And Danny added to that.
She did. She said the queen is singing "You Are Mine" in that closing line to the corpse.
Oh my God.
Because now, literally, he can't get away. That interpretation coming straight from the band suggests the murder wasn't necessarily, like, premeditated in a cold way.
More like a rage thing.
Possibly. Maybe in a moment of rage or desperation after being rejected. Right there at the song's end. It's sudden, brutal.
A brutal climax to that chapter. And immediately after comes the fallout in Red Hands Never Fade.
Yeah, this is where the remorse kicks in. Or seems to. She's pleading, asking her love, the person she just killed, to forgive her mistake.
But the title, Red Hands Never Fade, it tells you everything.
Exactly. It cannot be undone. Her hands are stained permanently. No washing that off.
And as that guilt starts to pile up, the internal war begins to manifest more actively in the sacrifice. This is where she starts hearing voices.
That's the interpretation, yeah. Likely internal voices, different parts of her psyche kind of breaking through.
So it's the evil side making its move, urging her to give up, stop fighting the guilt and the pain.
Pretty much. It offers to take the burden almost seductively, predicting her inevitable downfall go bad, and hinting at the darkness ahead. Lines like "darkness in your eyes."
Chilling.
And that warning, if you let this go much further, there'll be no turning back for me. It's laying down the stakes.
That internal conflict then just explodes fully in Chapter 3, the internal war. And Sinister Smiles is like the main event here.
Definitely the centerpiece. This song is staged as a direct fight. It's a duet and often live. P.S.Y.C.H.O.T.I.C takes the good side, Danny the bad.
Right. And the bad side is taunting, trying to break down the good side's resistance.
But the queen's good side is still fighting back, at least initially. And our sources pointed out a really specific, dark thought here she considers suicide. The lyric, "stain the water."
Oh, okay. That's what that means.
Yeah, it's a reference to that. The band even mentioned it could imply suicide in a bathtub, calling it a very feminine way to do it so the blood doesn't dirty the house.
That's incredibly specific and, wow, dark.
It is. And what makes it even more unsettling is that the evil side actually joins in singing that "stain the water" line.
So does the evil side want her dead too? Or is it just pushing her towards any kind of self-destruction?
It's ambiguous, isn't it? Maybe it just wants the original personality gone, one way or another. By the end of Sinister Smiles, the good and bad sides have basically fractured. They can't coexist anymore.
The struggle bleeds into dull knives. She's still grappling with that thought of suicide from the last song, and she's clearly losing the battle for control.
The title itself is pretty telling. Self-mutilation is implied the idea of using dull knives because, weirdly, they cause more pain.
A physical manifestation of her internal agony.
Exactly. And the realization that her evil side is winning. She's losing herself.
Which,
Right. And this is where the evil side seems to fully assert its dominance. It's taunting the original queen, saying, "You don't deserve the throne, the crown is mine."
there's a real sense of like proud, boastful wickedness coming through.
Definitely.
But then something really significant happens. Paulina, the drummer, who's been the voice of the Queen's good side since Sinister Smiles, she actually chants Korosu, Korosu, which is Japanese for kill. What does that signify?
That shift is just monumental. It suggests something absolutely fundamental has changed inside the Queen. Maybe a transformation within the Queen's good side itself. It hasn't just been beaten, it's been twisted into something else, maybe accepting the violence or even participating now.
That's a disturbing twist, and it sets the stage for Chapter 4, The Embrace and the End, which opens with P.S.Y.C.H.O.T.I.C.
Yeah. In this song, the Queen seems to fully accept what she's become. She's not fighting the evil side anymore. She is the evil side. She's embodying it.
And according to the band's vlog, she's even kind of mocking anyone trying to catch her.
Exactly. She claims the throne of this new identity, the one the evil side previously said she didn't deserve in the title track. It's like a coronation of madness.
And she's not stopping at just one murder. The sources note, the lyrics confirm she's committing other acts of violence. The knife in her hands will not stop.
Right. This is the full embrace of madness and violence. No turning back now.
Then the next track is Hunter. The band's vlog gave a pretty stark image for this one. The Grim Reaper shows up and delivers a fatal wound.
Yeah. But given the whole psychological nature of the album, the interpretation from our sources is that this Reaper figure is likely another manifestation of her fractured psyche.
So maybe the evil side turning on the original personality.
Or maybe it's her conscience reasserting itself, delivering a final judgment. It points strongly towards suicide as the actual cause of death, like one personality finally killing another in this internal war.
Or maybe the conscience finally rising up to end the evil side's reign, even if it means destroying herself too. That the conflict never really stops.
That's another way to look at it, yeah. The internal conflict is unending until the end. Which brings us to the devastating conclusion. The end. Stars always seem to fade.
These are her final moments, her last thoughts as she's dying. And remarkably, after everything, she seems to regret nothing.
It seems that way. She believes she did it all for love, which is such a stark contrast to the evil side's declaration back in Sinister Smiles, I have done no wrong. This frames her motivation differently, maybe more tragically.
It does, and there's that cyclical nature you mentioned earlier. Elena sings lead on both the first song, Dust to Dust, and this final track.
Right, and the end closes with the phrase, start again, directly mirroring Dust to Dust's, and we shall start again.
Brings the whole narrative full circle, back to themes of life, death, and maybe some twisted kind of redemption. Or just the eternal nature of her struggle.
Yeah, it leaves you thinking. And it's worth noting how much effort went into the presentation beyond just the music. The album art is a huge part of the story, isn't it?
Oh, absolutely. The artwork visually tracks the narrative.
Yeah.
The girl's shadow is shown as this monstrous figure, right, with fur and claws.
Yeah, symbolizing that growing darkness inside. And the red garment she wears on the cover, it's not just cloth. Across the images, it visually morphs from fabric into blood splatter.
And then into these, like, gushing streams with flying droplets.
Exactly. It's a brilliant, visceral, visual metaphor for her descent into violence. Really well done.
And the album booklet itself is part of the experience, too. Powell mentioned how the lyrics start out neat and clean, but as you go through the songs, they start to get messier as her mind gets messier.
Yes. You see changes in capitalization, different fonts creeping in, and then horribly bloodstains start appearing on the pages.
Wow.
And the artwork for the end in the booklet, it shows a girl floating in water that's turning red with her blood. That directly ties back to that specific stain the water suicide lyric from Sinister Smiles.
These details aren't just, like, decoration. They actively deepen the narrative.
Absolutely. It shows the depth of their artistic vision for the whole project.
Yeah.
We also saw they perform the album in full live, twice?
Yeah, Lunario's CDMX in 2018 and 4ODD in 2019.
Right, and interestingly, at 4ODD, they slightly changed the running order. They played P.S.Y.C.H.O.T.I.C last.
After the end.
Yeah, which would drastically alter the final feeling of the album, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
Ending on that defiant embrace of her evil identity rather than her death. It's a powerful alternative way to frame it.
Definitely changes the takeaway. So after walking through this whole dark, complex story, why does this deep dive into Queen of the Murder scene matter to you, the listener?
Well, I think it's just a powerful example of how artists can use the concept, album format, music, lyrics, visual art, to tell a really rich, detailed psychological story. It showcases immense thematic depth and, frankly, artistic ambition. It offers this compelling narrative journey that really rewards close listening and paying attention to all those details we talked about.
We've traced her journey, haven't we? From those first seeds of obsession and desire through the shocking crime and the wave of remorse, into that brutal, fragmenting internal war.
Yeah.
And finally, the embrace of madness and her tragic end.
And every element, the lyrics, the band's own comments, the evocative album art, those details in the booklet, they all layer meaning upon meaning. They give us this deep insight into her disturbed mind and her, well, ultimately ill-fated destiny.
This deep dive really lays bare a story where that line between seeking love and completely succumbing to madness is terrifyingly thin.
There really is.
And the sources we've looked at make it clear that the most intense destructive conflict here isn't between people, but that brutal war being fought within the protagonist herself.
Exactly. And that idea, that the internal conflict isn't just background noise, but it's personified. It almost becomes a character driving the plot. What does that make you think about the nature of internal struggles in our own lives, or maybe in the stories we consume? This deep dive into Queen of the Murder Scene really makes you wonder, how many other artistic works, whether it's music, film, literature, are just waiting for us to engage with them on such a profound, multi-layered level?
Yeah.
Maybe the greatest discoveries, the most impactful insights lie in those details we often overlook, demanding a deeper, more active engagement from us as listeners.
Well said. Queen of the Murder Scene really stands out, not just as a collection of songs, but as this meticulously crafted journey into the mind. It demonstrates the band's unique ability to merge intense music with a complex, unfolding narrative.
It really does.
It's a testament, I think, to how art can explore the darkest corners of human emotion while still maintaining this surprising level of artistic coherence. It really invites us to delve into the very nature of storytelling itself.
Thank you for joining us on this fascinating deep dive. We hope you discovered some new layers of meaning and maybe appreciation for the art of storytelling through music.
Yeah, hope you enjoyed it.
Until next time, keep digging deeper and stay curious.